This program is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, who's expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings all year round, now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available in Farmington at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street. Also in Aztec at San Juan Health Partners Family Medicine at 120 Llanos Street. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday morning, October 30th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thank you for joining us here on KSJE 90.9 FM and 90.9 HD. A special good morning to our viewers who are tuning in to watch us live from our visual radio studio here at San Juan College. Of course, you can watch live on the KSJE Facebook page and on the KSJE YouTube channel. Coming up in just a moment, my guest on the program this morning from the Bloomfield School District, Superintendent Dr. Mizell, is here. We'll be talking about some of the issues facing the school district, some of the things the district is working on, like strategic planning and security. That is coming up in just a moment here on KSJE. Later on this morning, we will talk about the pets available for adoption this week from the Farmington Animal Shelter, the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter. I understand they have a lot of dogs and cats on hand, so they may be wheeling and dealing with some deals on some of the adoptions this week. We'll find out coming up later on this hour around 8:55. And at 9 a.m., it is Roving with the Arts with Mick Hess on KSJE Radio, and Mick will be talking about some arts news for us, lots of things that are happening, as well as playing music from Johannes Bach with Bach cantatas numbers 22 and 23. That's coming up today at 9 on KSJE. And, of course, you can always check out our programming schedule by going to our website at ksje.com. And that's also where you'll find our regional events calendar at ksje.com. A couple of things that are going on that I want to draw your attention to, including some events here at San Juan College, like the Halloween bouldering competition. Get it? That's happening today over at the Health and Human Performance Center. Also, this is a San Juan Symphony weekend with a concert Saturday night in Durango and a concert Sunday afternoon in Farmington. And tonight I also want to mention the Four Corners Candlelight Vigil. Four Corners Stands Against Hate. That event is happening at Orchard Plaza Park in downtown Farmington at Main and Orchard. You can get all the details on our regional events calendar at ksje.com. Well, as I mentioned, my guest in the studio this morning from the city of Bloomfield and Bloomfield Municipal Schools, Dr. Mizell, Superintendent, is here. Dr. Mizell, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to KSJE. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
You've been busy since
Yes.
we last visited, and I want to ask you a little bit about some of the things that you are working on. You mentioned some strategic planning work that's going underway in the district.
Yes, we're starting it's going to be a 3-year plan that we're putting together, and we conducted a survey of our staff and community members, and then we have a committee of about 16 people that are representing all walks of life in our community and the school. And we went over the survey information, kind of talked about the focus of the district, and we've identified areas that we want to focus in on. And the 5 primary areas is obviously student achievement,
right,
and communication within our district. We need to always work on that. Communication's always difficult. And then we're going to continue to pursue funding through grants and grant opportunities. We also want to have more parent engagement within our community, so we're starting a program to get that going. And then obviously school safety is a priority.
And talk to me a little bit about the process. This is a group that's getting together to talk about these things, and it involves staff and teachers?
Community members.
Community members too?
Yes, we have community members. We have members, principals from the different schools. We have teachers, and we have the school board members, and then we also have cabinet members that are involved.
Got you. And so as this kind of process continues, and you'll come up with some kind of a plan, right? And that will be presented to the school board, I suppose, for their recommendations?
Yes, and it will be approved by the board and also sent out in the community in a pamphlet and also communicated on our Facebook.
Got you. And you mentioned this is a 3-year plan instead of a 5-year plan. Is there a reason for the difference?
I think they find that those 5-year plans, so much changes now that you really can't project out that far. And we're going to have a new governor. We are anticipating education kind of being turned upside down a little bit with changes that have been talked about with each candidate. For example, the park and the evaluation system are kind of hot topics. So,
right.
A lot of things will change in how we conduct business in the sense of how we'll utilize data and what data will we utilize. And so there's a lot of anxiety around that, actually. I think that I just went to a superintendent's conference, and they're really trying to wrap their head around what they want to push forward with policy and legislative session, and what communicate with the new candidates or whoever the governor will be, kind of what our desires are, so that we are getting out in front of it instead of kind of behind it or being told.
I see.
And
right.
So we're hopeful that we will have a stronger voice in the future.
Is there some concern that no matter who wins the governor's race in New Mexico, they may want to change public education just to change it?
They both have said that.
Yeah.
So we know it's coming, and depending on what direction that individual wants to go, and we're hopeful of getting a Secretary of Education that understands New Mexico, and for right now, I don't foresee that Mr. Rosowski will maintain his position according to the tone that I'm observing and listening to. So,
and that's not abnormal, because those cabinet secretaries serve at the pleasure of the governor.
Right. So we'll probably have someone new.
Right.
And so we're hopeful. There's quite a few people that have kind of come up through the system that are interested, but in the past that was the case as well, and then we ended up with getting Hannah Scandero, so it was not someone from New Mexico at all. So it's kind of interesting how that process works.
It is a little bit, that's true. Mm-hmm. And we've seen a lot of changes, I think, in public education over the last 8 years of the Martinez administration, as we look back on maybe some of her projects and things that she mentioned that she was very passionate about, and putting in her cabinet secretary, the Secretary of Public Education, to put those changes through, whether it's teacher evaluations or school grades or some of those other initiatives that we've been hearing about and talking about.
Right. We've gone through some major reform in our state with Governor Martinez, and she was really focused on education. I think she truly, her heart's in the right place as far as what she wants for education. However, it's always a matter of timing, and whether the institutions itself, whether it be higher ed or the post-secondary positions and the secondary component, are ready for that.
Right.
And so I think she was trying to move mountains, and it's a difficult process. I just went through a 4-year turnaround process in my own district, and it has been very difficult. We're getting there, and we're getting traction, but it's you feel like you're always constantly monitoring and adjusting and rethinking what you're doing. I'm sure that whoever comes in will be doing the same thing. We have an ESSA plan that is heavily loaded with federal dollars, and so if these, all these the evaluation system are all written in that federal plan, mm-hmm. and so they would have to amend that plan
if that changes those requirements.
Yeah,
from the state
if the
level.
new governor coming in is going to have to redo everything.
Got it.
And it's all tied to dollars.
Right.
So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. You can't just unilaterally make those decisions. And and being that, in our district, we receive millions from the federal government. So you have to be careful how you approach things. And I've heard that one candidate is going to unilaterally make an executive decision to get rid of Park. Well, Park is in our federal ESSA plan.
I see.
All over the place.
Right.
So I don't know that you can just kind of make these decisions. I mean, I don't know enough about the political system. I think you have to finesse it and massage and rework things.
Maybe some consequences, unless it's phased out or something.
The consequences are heavy.
Right,
you know.
when you're talking millions of dollars. Interesting. My guest, Dr. Kim Mizell, is here. She's a superintendent of schools with the Bloomfield School District, talking about their strategic planning process that is going on right now in the district. And when do you hope that gets completed? Is that something you'd like to see finished in the new year?
Yeah, pretty much by the new year. We just kind of finalized our template of things that we want to do, and we're now going to go back through the review process with the committee, and then we'll present an actual document to the school board, hopefully by December.
Gotcha. And going back just a minute to the new governor and whoever that may be and some of the changes, how does that impact, or will it impact maybe some of the changes that you are trying to shelter and shepherd through with the Bloomfield schools? You talked about some of your initiatives. Is that somewhat insulated from any changes that may come down from the state?
I hope two of them are.
Yes.
We have two that are federally funded type grants, and those we have a 3-year commitment. The rest of them, the other two, K3 Plus and Reads to Lead, are annual awards, and you have to apply. A lot of those funds are considered to be in the below-the-line funding. And so depending on the next governor, what their initiatives may be, that below-the-line funding may disappear. So I'm hopeful that we'll continue to get the funding for those programs, but you really don't know.
Got it. And those are some grant programs that you're talking about, correct? That Bloomfield has applied and been awarded the money.
Yes.
And those are somewhat competitive, or always competitive, right, with other districts?
Yes, they're all competitive grants. We received a Circle grant, and the CSI Circle grant is for Striving Readers grant, and CSI is for kind of restructuring our secondary programs and really working on curriculum and instruction in the classroom. And they're kind of professional development grants, both of them in a way. And significant amount of money has been provided for those grants. And our district, we struggle, and we're very thankful for additional support and funding from the State Department. And so right now we have positions that the money came in late. And so, for example, for the Striving Readers Grant, we have 2 interventionist positions open. That would be for secondary interventions. We have 2 speech-language pathology positions open. And then we also have a home literacy coach position as well. We have hired the coordinator and another literacy coach already. So if anyone is interested out there in applying, one of the stipulations from the grant is we could not hire from within. So we have
You've got to bring someone in from outside the district. Interesting.
So we're looking for people. So.
Okay. Help wanted sign is up in your
That's
window,
right.
I
check
guess.
Our website and
there you
check
are.
out our positions that we have available. And they're very well-paying positions. So I encourage people to look at that.
Interesting. And the reason that you're needing to hire them now is, as you mentioned, you didn't have the money. The grant money wasn't available at the beginning of the school year, and that was what caused the delay, kind of. And you can't be the bank of Bloomfield Schools, I suppose, and hire someone without knowing that money's coming in.
My general practice is I don't do anything until I see the money. It's kind of the show me the money philosophy.
Seems like a good philosophy.
Just because we are, you're playing a shell game with the funds that you do have.
Sure.
And one of them is $1.2 million, so it's a significant amount of money. So I was waiting for the approval, and I've seen where sometimes you think you're getting an allocation. For example, that particular one, it was cut in half.
Oh.
So you don't move on those things until you know how much money you actually have. So we didn't actually get the money until kind of the 1st of September. So we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, which is always frustrating because you're held accountable to the goals,
right,
and everything that's within the grant. So we're moving as fast as we can and trying to get people hired.
Okay, very good. I just want to play a little bit of a party pooper. I assume one of the salaries is not $1.2 million for these positions that we're talking about.
No, I'm sorry.
They're still good paying, but not quite what we're talking about. All right.
Wishful thinking.
I know. I was thinking, wow, that's a pretty good salary, but it pays for a lot more than just that. That's true. I want to ask you too a little bit about, you mentioned some of the grants that talks about hiring and things like that. Are there other grants? And I guess grants are a relatively more recent way of giving out money for some of these programs in the state, rather than just funding every district for whatever they need or whatever, making it a bit more competitive for districts to have to compete against one another, I suppose, for limited funds.
Right. So you have to write, a proposal, and it gets approved. And it depends on, the state has, the governor herself has started kind of this trend because she has initiatives that she would like to push forward. One of them is early childhood. We also received the pre-K grant funds, $500,000, so all of those you have to apply to get them.
I see.
And Bloomfield has pursued them very aggressively. I know that sometimes you just need that jump start to get going, and we're seeing the benefits of some of our, like the early childhood program. That's one of our A schools. They ended up with 85% proficiency at the end of the year, which we're very proud of. And that only feeds into the next grade level, which is Central Primary and Blanco Elementary.
Right.
And Blanco went from a D to a B this year. So we're seeing getting some traction with this approach of applying for grant funds to jumpstart the district into some moving forward and being better prepared and helping the students with their achievement. A lot of the dollars actually go for programs to help ELL.
English language learners.
Yes,
right?
Thank you. English language learners. And to help our students with disability.
Right.
This particular circle grant is birth through 12. So it's a large role that it plays as far as with the district. And I've always firmly believed that the early childhood component will help with the future achievement. But then yet we have some kids that maybe have not been exposed to Common Core as well as they need to be, and students that are not reading as well as they need to be at the secondary level. So that's where we felt like an interventionist position would help with pushing into the classroom and helping students obtain the content that they're involved in. A lot of times they can't read the information or aren't able to understand what they're supposed to be learning. Gotcha.
Interesting. And I suppose for any modern school district, at least in New Mexico, you have to have grant writers on staff or people that can write these grants so that you can be competitive against the bigger districts that probably do have grant writers on staff.
Yes, and luckily, and I have a wonderful staff. They all contribute. We all work together. I used to be a grant coordinator, so I've written
that helps.
Quite a few grants. So I get what the information that needs to be conveyed and how it needs to be concise and summarized within the grant application. I also have some colleagues that are willing to help out as well. So it never hurts to have contacts.
Of course, that's very true. Well, Dr. Mizell, there's much more to talk with you about, including some security initiatives that you are taking at Bloomfield School District. So let me take a short break. But when we come back, more with my guest here in just a moment, which is Bloomfield Schools Superintendent Dr. Kim Mizell. Back with more coming up on KSJE. The time is 8:28.
Facebook had no idea what it was building, and it might still not know. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.